Hey everybody, Otaku Hedgehog here, and I know that in my last video I posted, I mentioned, stated that I plan to go back to college in order to fulfill my dream of my childhood dream of becoming a video game developer, and because of that, I'll no longer have the same time that I originally had to upload videos to this channel. But I mean, before I go full force into my schoolwork and studies, I did want to get something off my chest. As you know, I have mentioned time and again that I was working on a Mario vs. Sonic Death Battle debunk video, but I never found the time to complete it. So I really didn't want to. I don't want to say leave my YouTube channel, but I didn't want to go off in my second college journey without doing something about this whole Martin Sonic Death Battle thing. Analyze this little doesn't help either, such as the Game Grumps.
And with the Starman or Rainbow Star, he becomes totally invincible for a short time.
And with the Gold Flower, he never has to work another day in his life.
Okay, Invincibility Leaf is off limits, which means that the white Tanuki suit is off limits. A lot of Mario fanboys claim that the white Tanuki suit, Mario, outclasses Hypersonic, but again, it doesn't, for reasons I'll explain later.
Because he's got an infinite supply of money, made of people.
While he can carry several power-ups at once, Mario doesn't always need them to prove his potential.
He's quick enough to maneuver when transformed into a bolt of lightning.
This info is inaccurate and wouldn't help Mario in the fight against Sonic. Again, I'll explain soon.
And skilled enough to pilot the Star Diver as it rockets through the atmosphere. He's so friggin' manly, he took an explosion to the face that wrecked an entire castle. And even better, he was standing in the middle of this.
Based on a standard tennis court's measurements, we can determine the blast of this fireball covered a radius of over 2,000 feet. To reach this distance, the blast must have had an explosive yield of over 2.4 megatons.
Okay, what? See, this is where Death Battle loses me. They are literally taking a comedic gag from the opening of a sports spin-off and turning it as a measure of Mario's durability. This game isn't even canon to the main platformer games, it's a spin-off, so why is this even being looked at?
So what you're saying is Mario could totally play tennis with a nuclear warhead for a ball and be totally...
The explosion caused by the bullet bill was small and unimpressive, but whatever. Why even question Death Battle's logic at this point?
fine.
Probably. Also, he can throw a baseball so fast it overloaded this speed gun, implying it was launched over 999 miles per hour.
Wow, and isn't it funny how you forgot to analyze the time that Sonic hit and reversed the force of a tennis ball so hard that it caught fire and left Eggman unconscious? The ignition temperature for wool is 600 degrees Celsius. For a tennis ball to move fast enough for the wool to catch fire would mean that Sonic had to have hit this ball at least 2,200 miles per hour. That's faster than a speeding bullet. Sonic has Mario outclassed here. How does Mario in the Mario and Luigi games scale to Paper Mario's durability? Was that ever stated?
In the Mario World cartoon, he hurled a dinosaur out of orbit. Assuming this creature is of similar size and weight to a Tyrannosaurus Rex, this feat would require a force of over 135 tons of TNT.
The weight of a Tyrannosaurus rex is between 13,000 to 32,000 pounds. When in the games has Mario ever lifted anything remotely close to that and effortlessly thrown it out of the Earth's atmosphere? Someone please explain this to me.
Wait, Wiz, I thought you said we're only using the games.
Any official material counts so long as it's supported by the games, otherwise we'd be ignoring a huge majority of the character's history. Take a look at this chain chomp. It's actually made up of solid gold. Gold is ridiculously heavy. While 1 cubic foot of iron weighs 491 pounds, a cubic foot of gold is over 1,200 pounds. Luckily, a chain chomp is a perfect sphere, so we can compare it to Mario's height to find that it weighs nearly 6,000 tons.
Haha, nice try, Death Battle. But in the Super Mario Sunshine mission, Chain Chomp's Bath, Mario is clearly struggling to pull this Chain Chomp. He isn't effortlessly throwing him into outer space as seen with the Tyrannosaurus Rex in the Mario Brothers Super Show cartoon. We must also keep in mind that Mario had outside help in this mission with the assistance of the Flood. Mario was able to not only wet the Chain Chomp, but also soften the ground, make it easier for him to drag in the dirty sphere. A small detail that you seem to have missed in Death Battle, but and here's a newsflash for you. Pulling strength doesn't equal punching strength. You're also using your legs and torso when pulling, not just your arms, so this feat wouldn't help much in the battle against Sonic.
Wait, did he just leave it in that hole? Cash it in, Mario! That thing's worth $366 billion!
That's actually correct.
Well, yeah, that guy on TV who always wants my gold told me.
This isn't even Mario's most impressive feat. At one point, he lifted an entire fortress and punted it through the air.
Death Battle, you can't be serious. Why are you using a one-time gag to measure Mario's strength? Mario kicks away a chibi-fied castle like nothing. Well, has he ever done anything like this in any other games? No. Do you know why? Because he can't. This segment wasn't meant to be taken seriously. Are you blind? Just look at the castle. It's tiny. And obviously, Mario isn't giant either, because then the Yoshi egg would have to be giant as well, which obviously wouldn't make sense. The small cutscenes in the Super Mario world are just simply gags. It's a joke. Mario can't really lift and kick away a castle effortlessly. If he could, then why doesn't he do that to Bowser's castle in every game? Oh, I know why. Because he can't. This is a contradiction to all the Mario games. If he really was that strong, then there would be no need to platform through Bowser's castles. Death Battle, what you're analyzing right now is a common trope used purely for comedic purposes. They use this all the time in cartoons. It's a gag and nothing more. I mean, if that's the case, then you'd have to assume that cartoon characters like SpongeBob will be on Mario's strength status.
He does the same thing in the manga, and it's pretty on par with the strength he's shown against Bowser, who's survived collapsing castles multiple times.
Since this presentation makes the castle's size difficult to determine, we measured the entire interior based on maps from the game. By scaling these measurements to the castle's smaller avatar and conservatively assuming a limestone composition, we've determined the castle must weigh more than 61 million tons.
And he just kicked it away like it was a freaking soccer ball.
Given the distance it was kicked, Mario must have exerted a force of around 3.5 megatons of TNT. Do you realize what this means? Mario's foot is 231 times more powerful than the atomic bomb that dropped on Hiroshima.
No, it means that you guys are overanalyzing a gag that's inconsistent with all the other Mario games. So you're basically saying that Mario's foot has more power than that of a nuclear bomb? Then why doesn't he just destroy Bowser's castle with his foot at the start of every game then? Or why doesn't he just kick the castle that he's trapped in to rubble in games like Luigi's Mansion or Super Princess Peach? Oh, I know why, because he can't. For Pete's sakes, Death Battle tried way too hard to make Mario look like Superman in this fight.
Now seems like a good time for a beer. Or 12.
Honestly, Mario's absurd strength shouldn't be as surprising as you'd think. While he's
And they're still comparing Mario to cartoon feats that clearly contradict with the Nintendo games. Seriously, Death Battle, are you biased or what? As for the Wario thing, why can't we assume that Wario didn't just hop back to the main menu like he does at the end of all the levels in Wario Land Shake It? He doesn't have a scratch on him at the end of the game, so I assume he found the way to avoid the detonation, not endure it. Besides, Sonic has survived similar feats, which I'll explain soon. By the way, Death Battle, how do you come up with these calculations of fictional landscapes in tons of TNT? Because I can't help but feel that you're just making numbers up at this point.
He's fairly naive and not much of a strategist. He's saved the Mushroom Kingdom from Bowser's clawed grip time and time again. And the Koopa King is tough enough to survive a dip in the sun, or even a black hole.
Oh no!
I hope you realize in most Bowser fights that Mario doesn't physically overpower Bowser, right? He usually just uses the environment against him to his advantage because Bowser isn't very smart. I also hope that you realize Bowser can survive in fiery environments, but besides judging Mario and Bowser's size to the star goes to show that it's not a very powerful star anyway. Over 1,000,000 Earths can fit in our sun. The sun in Mario games, however, isn't even really a sun. It's just a pool of lava in a shape of an empty sphere with the hole in it the size of the small neighborhood. I'm referring to the sun in the Super Mario Galaxy games, by the way. As for the black hole thing, black holes in the Mario universe are nowhere near as terrifying as they are in the real world. In real life, black holes are theorized to be able to eat planets. The black holes in Mario Galaxy are nowhere near that strong, as you can see in any level of Mario Galaxy.
Underestimate Nintendo's powerful plumber.
Here we go! Somewhere out there, on a strange alternate version of Earth, humans coexist with anthropomorphic animals. But this world has been assailed over and over by the vile Dr. Ivo Robotnik, otherwise known as Eggman.
Why the heck does he need such a dumb alias when he's already got a name as cool sounding as Robotnik?
Well, Eggman was his original name in Japan. They just changed it to Robotnik on the west side of the world because it sounded cooler. Sorry, I'm such a Sonic nerd.
Hope persisted. Whenever the Eggman hatched a scheme, one did not have to wait long for a certain blue streak to speed by. This was Sonic the Hedgehog.
He's the fastest thing alive!
He's the fastest thing alive! While Sonic has a superhuman physique overall, speed is his speciality. In fact, superhuman speed is a natural trait for the anthropomorphic hedgehog, though Sonic's abilities are far superior to his kin.
Wait a minute, all hedgehogs have super speed? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, real hedgehogs are also nocturnal, not blue, and when they try to make friends with foxes, they get eaten. So I don't think Sega cares.
And real humans can't fly with a cap or shoot fire from their hands. So why are we even analyzing this?
Alright then, to stop Eggman from turning all his animal pals into batteries, Sonic cranked up that speed and weaponized it. He can crush his enemies with the spin attack, strike multiple times with the homing attack, go 0 to Sonic Boom instantly with the super peel out, and plow through hordes of badniks with the spin dash. Holy crap, I think this guy would just like vomit all the time.
He's also used a number of power-ups throughout his adventures, including elemental shields. The Aqua Shield is especially useful as it grants him an incredibly high bouncing jump and protection against his greatest nemesis.
Robotnik?
No, water.
Seriously, Sonic, buddy, learn to swim already and save our ears from that nightmare music.
For anyone who has developed a
Well, Boomstick, there are cases in various Sonic media where Sonic can swim, such as the Adventures cartoon, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and the early issues of the Archie Sonic comic. But of course, you guys won't use that to give Sonic an edge, unlike the Mario cartoons, right?
The blue hedgehog can also gain abilities from small alien beings called wisps.
They can turn him into a fireball, a yellow drill, a black hole, a bunch of stuff really, even a demonic hungry hippo.
Yeah, keep in mind that they hardly use any of these power-ups in this fight.
But before we delve any further, there is something vital which we need to discuss. It's time to figure out Sonic's speed.
Oh boy, here we go.
While he has boasted that he is faster than light, Sonic has yet to prove this in canon without the aid of additional equipment or power-ups.
Incorrect. In games like Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, Generations, Sunken Shadow can perform the light dash without additional equipment. Though keep this in mind that Screw Attack themselves admit that Sonic runs at the speed of light with the light dash ability.
Oh yeah, like when he connects to a trail of rings. But you can't take his bragging too
Semi-lengthy? It only takes about 4 seconds.
seriously. He's still got some of that radical 90s attitude.
I'm out of here.
The highest official description of Sonic's speed labels him as hypersonic, or somewhere between Mach 5 and Mach 10. This actually isn't too far-fetched. The game Sonic Unleashed records his speed, and he can reach a maximum around 3,500, SPD.
Keep this number in mind.
Sonic, he's got an STD. Sonic, it burns when he pees.
Assuming SPD
Hear that? He said assuming. So we're making assumptions now instead of using actual facts to downplay Sonic?
translates to metric meters, given the game's Japanese development, that puts Sonic's top speed over 7,872 miles per hour. Over 10 times the speed of sound, and just over the official hypersonic description.
Not even close, as I'll explain in a minute.
So, is that it?
Well, it's possible, no, likely, that he's faster. In TV shows closely tied to the games, Sonic has dodged meteors, did this with a 10,000 frame per second camera, and even outran lightning.
Keep this in mind as well. Screw Attack is using the fact that Sonic has outran lightning as a reasonable feat.
All of which implies that he can move and react around 200 to 300 times the speed of sound.
Keep this in mind too. Screw Attack claims that Sonic has lightning fast speed and reflexes.
How about that one time he caught up to a cyan wisp? He said that thing's almost as fast as him, even without its laser mode.
That's right. The laser is a power it grants Sonic, not itself. Still, wisps are incredibly fast. At one point, a group of them flew from Earth's surface to a black hole in orbit in the 20 seconds Sonic and Tails were talking. By measuring the planet's curve here, we can find that the Wisp aliens must have been moving around Mach 200. As Sonic is faster than them, this supports his cartoon feats.
Why isn't that black hole suck?
Keep in mind that Sonic was obviously exaggerating the idea of the Wisps being almost as fast as him. Sonic is very humble. He's only cocky to villains and his rivals. Sonic said that the Lightning Wisp was faster than him because he was being polite. That's no different from telling your little brother that he's almost as good as you at basketball.
Sucking up the Earth. That's what they do, right?
It's
Why don't the black holes in Super Mario Galaxy suck up the land that Mario is platforming on? Maybe it's because it's a video game and being too realistic would hurt sales and the story? Nah, that would make too much sense.
more like a pseudo-black hole fueled by hyper-go-on energy.
Yeah, I didn't know better. I'd swear he just made those words up.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you guys are making up half your claims and calculations on this show.
Its presence near Sonic does emulate that of a singularity, and Sonic actually outran its pull for 30 seconds. Due to chaotic accretion, black holes pull non-orbiting mass inward at 30% the speed of light. Sonic's clearly pushing his running speed to its limit here, or else the black hole wouldn't have pulled him in. With this in mind, it's entirely possible that, without additional support, Sonic's maximum possible running speed must be around 200 million miles per hour.
No way, not even close. This is not a fair assessment of Sonic's running speed. Let me explain. First of all, this isn't a fair analysis of Sonic's maximum running speed because of the outside interference going on. Judging Sonic's top running speed as seen by him trying to outrun a black hole is just like judging an Olympian's top swimming speed as seen by him or her trying to outswim a whirlpool. Sonic obviously chose not to run at full speed at the end of Sonic Colors. The platform was clearly breaking apart in front of him and being sucked into the void. There wasn't much that Sonic could do in terms of running because there wasn't much to run on in the first place. Even if he did go at his full speed, he would risk running into space with no floor, causing him to crash and fall to his death anyway. Sonic's top running speed is unknown. Sonic himself probably doesn't even know how fast he can truly go. The only way for Sonic to see what his true speed is would be for there to be an endless straight track for him to run on with no inhabitants around for fear of causing sonic booms and killing innocent people and animals near him, as well as no Eggman traps for fear of being killed by them. In other words, Sonic would need his own planet to truly test himself. And just FYI, the player clearly is able to make Sonic maneuver in that level, but Sonic is still prevented at going at top speeds at the end of Colors because of the rows of platforms getting sucked into the vortex. The gravitational pull from the black hole is having a tremendous impact on how fast Sonic can move at that time. And the gravitational pull and the black hole already appeared before Sonic even started running in the first place. And the floor breaking apart sure isn't helping either. Yes, we have seen Sonic maneuver at top running speeds before, when he doesn't have a black hole affecting his movement and floor that he can run on. Black holes even have the power to bend and pull light. By the time he gets to the end of the platform that stopped tearing apart, it was already too late, as the previous torn apart platforms caused him to slow down, thus preventing him at going at his max speed, leaving him vulnerable to get sucked into the black hole. Not to mention that if you fail to take into account that Sonic was exhausted from his previous fight with Eggman, when he's rescued by the Whips, he can barely even stand. The final level of Colors is not a good indicator of how fast Sonic can go. Again, to truly measure Sonic's limits, he'd have to have a place on a planet of his own where he doesn't have to worry about any stage hazards, and has no living creatures near him that could be killed from the sonic booms that he had been fully rested.
You will form 2 teams.
That's insane! The fastest...
This is irrelevant, thanks to Sonic Unleashed, which I'll explain later. So, you mean like Mario can't fly on his own? You still gave him the wing cap in his death battle, so I don't see why you couldn't give Sonic a time warp plate.
This man-made object in real life was the New Horizons space probe, which took off at more than 36,000 miles per hour.
It took 9 years for this probe to reach Pluto, but with Sonic's speed, he could make this same trip to Pluto in less than 24 hours.
While we're tracking speed, I've always wondered how fast I can chug a beer. Start the clock, Wiz!
Are you gonna start?
I'm already done.
Moving on. Even with this unbelievable speed, Sonic has far more power hidden up his sleeves.
He doesn't wear a shirt.
He can achieve the form of Super Sonic by absorbing an enormous amount of positive energy from the 7 legendary Chaos Emeralds. In this mode, he can teleport large objects, survive planet-level explosions, launch...
Screw Attack admits that Supersonic can survive planet-level explosions and teleport large objects such as Space Colony Arc. Keep this in mind.
energy attacks, and fly near the speed of light.
Screw Attack uses Super Smash Bros. As a reliable source for research. Keep this in mind.
But guess what? This isn't even his final form.
After the Emeralds received a boost from the Master Emerald, Sonic could achieve his ultimate state of being, Hypersonic.
He's got up.
Notice that they mention the Hyper Flash boosting attack, but don't use it.
All the abilities of Supersonic, plus total invincibility, and a Hyper Flash that insta-kills everything around him. Oh, and he's definitely faster than light now.
Unfortunately, good things don't last forever. Without a steady supply of rings, these super forms can't even stick around for a full minute.
But you can extend the form with more rings. And the whole 50-second time limit thing is only a game mechanic. There has never been a time, in whether it's in the cartoons or in the actual game story, where Supersonic is stated to have a time limit.
Sonic has resisted mind control from the Overmind, survived re-entry from orbit, and blasted apart a mountain. This would need more than 200 tons of TNT to pull off. And while fighting his evil Robocopy Metal Sonic, they shattered this enormous stalactite. Holy shit, just look at the size of it!
By comparison, Comparing it to the buildings in this city and applying the density of granite, the most common rock in continental crust, we found that this stalactite must weigh almost 47 million tons, which means a break like this would need a force of almost 200 kilotons of TNT.
Damn, he's definitely got what it takes to save the world from a madman scientist, even if he is kind of a dick.
Well,
Doggone it, Boomstick. I am sick and tired of people who obviously know nothing about the character labeling Sonic as a cocky douchebag. Sonic is only cocky towards his enemies and rivals. Sonic is a very noble, humble, and chivalrous person. In Sonic Adventure 2, he's able to have a clear conversation with Shadow out of respect for him, despite being framed and outsped by him earlier in the game, and even being placed in jail because of him. Not to mention humbling his sacrifice at the end of the game. In Sonic Heroes, he thanks Knuckles and Tails, admitting that he couldn't save the world on his own. In Sonic 06, he checks on Silver after his fight to see if he's alright, despite Silver being his enemy at the time. In Sonic X Episode 8, he gives Chris and Tails all the credit for saving the day, despite him doing all the dangerous work. In Sonic X Episode 14, he turns down a chance to meet with the president to keep his promise of hanging out with a handicapped girl for a day who was strapped to a wheelchair. And in a later Sonic X episode, I believe episode 44, can't remember, he takes a hit to the gut, causing him to pass out in order to protect Cream. And in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, we see him slow down in an attempt to save Pikachu. Unlike Kirby, or Mario for that matter. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Sonic was the only person in that scene trying to rescue other people. Mario himself didn't bother saving Peach. These acts go to show how big Sonic's heart truly is. His muscles may not be as big as Mario's, but his heart certainly surpasses Mario's.
Sonic may be a bit arrogant, and he's certainly a thrill seeker, but at his best, he's the definition of honest and heroic. He's
Thank you, Wiz.
used his powers to defeat Eggman time and time again, even against gigantic death machines and cataclysmic events.
Those cute and cuddly forest critters can rest easy when Sonic's gotta go fast.
I'll show you how outclassed you really are.
I'm in a class all my own. Time to put up or shut up, Infinite. You ain't all.
How did that happen? I know Nintendo won the console wars, but I really seem to remember Sonic having this one in the bag.
I'm sure Sonic could have won in specific circumstances, but more times than not, Mario takes the victory. Keep in mind this analysis was done with a focus on the games and their closely tied media.
Though it doesn't stop you from using ridiculous cartoon feats with other gaming characters such as Kirby and Mewtwo.
Excluding alternate contrary sources like the Archie comics or the Mario Brothers movie, where Mario and Sonic are essentially entirely different characters from their gaming counterparts.
Sonic had speed in the bag, obviously, but Mario was way too tough for him.
Their top strength feats paint this picture very, very clearly.
Okay, time to debunk this. First of all, Mario cannot kick a castle away, as I already explained. If he could, then he'd never get kidnapped in games like Luigi's Mansion, and would be able to easily break down Bowser's and his children's castles without even platforming through them. So that 3,470 kilotons feat is complete BS. Screw Attack is just going out of their way to make Sonic look like nothing to Mario. Even if we were to take Mario's 3,470 kiloton feat as fact, it still wouldn't matter, as Sonic has survived far worse than this. In Sonic X Episode 26, this is a great example of Sonic's durability. He survived a nuclear strike from Eggman's Egg Fort, and survived the beatings of the E-99 Eggsterminator, who was strong enough to effortlessly destroy the GUN Beetles that survived the nuclear blast unscathed. This is probably due to the ring system, which allows the Sonic X feats to be supported by the games. Sonic is practically immortal as long as he has at least one ring on him. And the fact that he was able to transform into Super Sonic at the end of the episode proves that he had at least 50 rings on him. And according to Sam Biddle of Gizmodo.com, it takes 198,750,000 kilotons to destroy the moon. The Eclipse cannon, powered by 6 of the 7 emeralds in Sonic Adventure 2, destroyed half the moon. So the power of the 6 emeralds can be estimated to be 99,375,000 kilotons. For simplicity's sake, I'll be referring to this measurement of the Chaos Emerald's power through Sonic Adventure 2 as the Eclipse Cannon scale. And those very same emeralds were used to power the E99 Exterminator that was used in episode 26 of Sonic X, to the point where it was overheating, and even the plot and creator of the mech, Eggman himself, pitied Sonic and feared for his safety. And I know some people are gonna claim that Sonic X isn't canon, and that's fine, but we can apply the Emerald Kiloton logic to the Master Emerald in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. At the end of Knuckles' story, we can see Mechasonic use the Master Emerald to transform into a super state. This means we can compare it to the 7 Chaos Emerald's power. If by the Eclipse Cannon scale, 6 emeralds have the power of at least 99,375,000 kilotons, we can divide that number by 6, which will give us 16,562,500 kilotons. So that means a single Chaos Emerald equates to at least 16,562,500 kilotons of power, which would mean that all 7 emeralds, or the Master Emerald alone, would contain at least 115,937,500 kilotons of power. In Sonic's story, Eggman steals the Master Emerald and uses it to power the Death Egg backup. He also uses it as his power source for the giant Eggman Robo. With the Master Emerald as his power source, he can fire a giant laser at Sonic, but if the player has rings on him, Sonic can survive this attack. It's difficult to judge the power of this laser because it doesn't hit anything, but a robot like Mechasonic was able to obtain a super form from simply touching the emerald. This could mean that the great Eggman Robo was also in that category of power, thus measuring Sonic's durability in Sonic 3 and Knuckles at least 115,937,500 kilotons of force. This thus putting him on par with his feats in Sonic X, making him definitely strong enough to survive any attack from Mario.
Clearly. But I know what you're thinking. What good is Mario?
It's never been confirmed or stated that Sonic needs a second individual to travel back in time with the Chaos Control. Sure, in Sonic 06, he did it with Silver and Shadow by his side, but there's no evidence stating that Sonic couldn't do that on his own. It could simply be suggested that it just simply looks cool in the cutscenes seeing Sonic perform time-traveling Chaos Control with the other hedgehogs. And just FYI, when he does it with Silver, Silver only had one prior experience to using Chaos Control, which means that Sonic was the one taking the lead in creating a time portal, so he should at least have an idea of how to use Chaos Control to travel through time. As for Mario's retry clock, that appeared in Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, which could be argued as a different canon. Earlier times appeared in the Mario RPG game on the SNES, and again, probably isn't canon because it wasn't even made by Nintendo. Even if these power-ups were used in the fight, they are inferior to Chaos Control because they have limited uses and disappear once used, unlike Chaos Emeralds, which can be used over and over again.
Mario's strength if he couldn't even hit the blue blur. He's way too fast, right?
Yes and no. While Mario obviously...
Incorrect. Mario needs outside help from the launch star to travel between galaxies. Anyone could do that. That's no different from using a jet to fly across a country, and using Mario's travels through his galaxies to measure his speed isn't a fair assessment of, as his galaxies are far smaller than ours.
He couldn't match Sonic's relativistic top-running speeds, he's moved efficiently as a bolt of electricity and piloted the Star Diver. Based on our calculations, this puts him at the same level as Sonic's own reactionary feats. Since Mario was tough enough to tank almost anything Sonic could throw at him, it was only a matter of time before he tagged the Blue Blur with a deadly blow.
Wow, there was so much wrong with those statements. First of all, Mario needs outside help with Cappy to move as a bolt of electricity in Super Mario Odyssey. Second, because he has outside help from Cappy, how do we know that Mario isn't receiving assistance from Cappy to help him maneuver and react at these fast speeds? Third, electricity moving on a wire is nowhere near as fast as lightning, which you have admitted that Sonic can outrun. Lightning travels at the speed of light, and according to a study by University of California, Santa Barbara, light travels through empty space at 186,000 miles per second. The electricity which flows through the wires in your homes and appliances travels much slower, only about 1/100th the speed of light. Part of the reason is that light is massless. It has no weight, whereas the electricity flowing in the wires is made up of a stream of electrons, all of which have some small amounts of weight. In addition, the electrons flowing through the wires constantly bump into the atoms of the wire, which slows them down considerably. If you were to take the electrons out of the wire and make them flow through space, which is essentially what you do when you make a spark, they can move faster, but no matter what, they cannot move as fast as light. That being said, even as with outside help from Cappy, Mario can only move and maneuver at 1% of Sonic's light speed. As for the whole Star Diver thing, how did you get the 400 miles measurement? Is it ever stated in the game that Mario flew 400 miles? And I hope you realize that Mach 375 is nowhere near the speed of light. The speed of light is Mach 874,030, and Sonic has been clocked at over 9 times the speed of light in Sonic Unleashed, which I'll explain soon. Mario's speed and reflexes are nowhere near as fast as Sonic's.
Oh, but what about K?
Okay, so that's not true. You see, Sonic has an infinite amount of stamina. Ben just claimed that it was only a matter of time before Mario could hit Sonic, but Sonic never gets tired in his games. Unlike characters like Link in Legend of Zelda or Master Chief from the Halo series, Sonic doesn't have a stamina meter. If he really wanted to, he could outmaneuver anything Mario can throw at him for as long as he wants. You can even see in episode 24 of Sonic X, even after running for over 24 hours straight, while asleep, Sonic is still running at high speeds. Sonic's stamina is a freak of nature, and the man said it himself that he never gets tired, as seen in episode 44 of Sonic Boom.
Chaos Control. Couldn't Sonic just stop time and take care of things? What?
It's heavily implied he knows how to, but Sonic has never actually used the time stop ability in canon. Even then, Mario's stopwatch does the same thing, putting them on equal footing.
Nope, not true at all. Mario's stopwatch is a physical object which disappears after it's used. True, Sonic has never used Chaos Control to stop time in canon, but he has used the time break ability in Sonic and the Secret Rings, which is an ability, not an object. So it is more reliable than Mario's clocks. And yes, Sonic and the Secret Rings is canon because Sonic referenced it in his adventures in the game Sonic Generations.
Ah, don't do that. Where's my wallet?
Actually, most of Mario and Sonic's power-ups countered each other in this way. Mario even had plenty of options for defending against Sonic's invincible super forms. But Mario also had a much wider variety of power-ups, offering multiple ways to overpower Sonic. For example, he could have frozen Sonic solid, or even turned him into gold. His
This would not help Mario at all. Even if Mario was somehow able to hit Sonic with the Ice Flower, Sonic has been shown to break out of ice many times before, as seen in Sonic Mania, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the Adventures cartoon, and in the Sonic X anime. And wouldn't Sonic being turned to gold help out Sonic? Sure, it may cut his speed, but his body would be more durable and stronger, wouldn't it? Not that it matters, because Mario can't freeze or turn bosses into gold anyway.
arsenal would always outlast Sonic's because he's been shown to carry more of them on his person.
Okay, I need to make this clear. Mario's huge arsenal would be 100% useless to Sonic because, as proven already, Sonic's speed and reflexes greatly outweigh Mario's. If Mario pulls out one of his power-ups, Sonic could easily grab it from him and destroy it, or even use it for himself. And Sonic can effortlessly move 9 times the speed of light if he really wanted to. There's no way that Mario would be able to react to this and use his power-ups before Sonic could take them from him. This is the beauty of Sonic's character, though. He doesn't need to rely on weapons or power-ups, unlike Mario, or swords like Link, or guns like Master Chief. Sonic is his own weapon, and his speed is his greatest strength. Without power-ups, though, Mario is a sitting duck.
Oh, God. Oh, I've seen things.
But even then,
The moon which Donkey Kong punched to the earth is not comparable to our moon. Donkey Kong's moon is the size of a small island, while Dark Gaia had the power to move continents. True, Super Sonic had some aid from Chip, but Sonic was still doing pretty much all the fighting. Chip, for the most part, was just being a distraction and got few punches on Dark Gaia. As for the Wario thing, I've already stated that there's no visible proof that Wario was in that blast. He could have just went back to the safety of his home after the fight, like he does at the end of every level in Wario Land Shake It.
Mario's durability blew Sonic's out of the water. Even if we assume the 200 kiloton stalactite feat was entirely Sonic's doing, Mario survived an explosion that was 12 times more powerful.
Design team, come and get.
And again, thanks to the Eclipse Cannon scale, we can see that Sonic with 1 emerald has a power of 16,562,500 kilotons, which is more than enough to deal with Mario's false 2,400 kilotons of durability. Again, if you guys are throwing in this nonsense, Mario has a durability of 2,400 kilotons, I can come up with calculations stating that Sonic has the power of over 16 million kilotons with the Chaos Emerald, as shown by the games and anime. Also, Sonic wouldn't even need to transform into Supersonic or Hypersonic. He has all the power he needs with 1 emerald, and Mario wouldn't be able to take it from him because Mario's too slow.
Simply put, Sonic didn't have a lot of viable options that could take Mario down for good.
Well, Supersonic certainly has the power to be a planet buster as seen in Sonic X episode 77, and thanks to the Eclipse Cannon scale, obviously he doesn't want to destroy the planets because, he's a hero. Mario, on the other hand, has never shown anywhere near this kind of power. Actually, Sonic could easily take Mario down. You just wrote him to not take him down.
I always knew Sonic was impressive, but Mario is just ridiculous.
No, you're just using ridiculous non-canon feats and numbers to contradict Game Mario.
Probably that mustache.
Sonic was obviously incredibly fast, but he couldn't compete with Mario's superior strength, durability, and varied arsenal.
No, I've proven that Sonic has greater speed, durability, while Mario's arsenal is flat out useless against Sonic's raw speed and reflexes. The only thing I'll give Mario is raw strength. I can admit Mario may have more power than Sonic in terms of arm strength, but Sonic can match and surpass him in terms of body strength. He was able to counter the Egg Golem and Dark Gaia with his body alone, and he was able to take control of the Egg Cerberus and Egg Wyvern in Sonic 06. Besides, it takes more than strength to win a battle. If Sonic and Mario were in a boxing match with no power-ups allowed, then Mario may have the edge here. He doesn't have the 3,400 kilotons of power, no way, but he does have the advantage because Sonic doesn't have much strength to run here. But if they were fighting in an open area, on the other hand, as shown in this death battle, then Sonic would have the upper hand because he has more room to run to amplify his strength with his speed. Sonic is no pushover and is certainly no weak link, as we have seen him time and again effortlessly break through steel, fortresses, and even gods. In the opening of Sonic Unleashed, he is able to break through a line of robots with his fists alone effortlessly. Sonic would definitely give Mario a run for his money. Now that I've given my opinion about Screw Attack's cherry-picking research, I'll now give my opinion on the actual animation. Notice how the first thing that we see is the sun with eyes in the Mario art style, thus letting us know that Screw Attack is giving Mario home field advantage.
Hello? That's a mine. Finders keepers, pal.
Why couldn't Sonic react to Mario folding his chair when he can effortlessly dodge meteors falling from the sky, as seen in the Sonic Boom cartoon, the very cartoon that Screw Attack referenced in this debate?
Whoa! You asked for it, Tubby.
Take note, for a guy who can run 9 times the speed of light, the best that Screw Attack has Sonic do is throw sand at Mario.
You're too slow.
So, why couldn't Sonic create a tornado with the sand and take out Mario as he's blinded by the sand? We've seen Sonic create tornadoes both in and out of canon effortlessly. Why didn't they give Sonic a violet wisp so that he could create black holes? Mario can't survive black holes as proven in Super Mario Galaxy. And why out of all the wisps they could have used do they give Sonic the red fire-producing wisp against a guy with pyrokinesis? Staged much?
Come here.
Why couldn't Sonic create an explosion here? You do realize that the red wisp allows Sonic to create explosions, right, Screw Attack? Of course you don't, because you didn't do your research. You did your cherry-picking research to make Mario look like Sonic is nothing against him. Of course, Mario just happens to know to knock Sonic into his weakness, which is water, despite Death Battle clearly saying that they shouldn't have prior knowledge of each other. And why are they fighting in an area where Sonic has a disadvantage? They already threw Sonic in the water in the first Death Battle. Why are they doing this again? And why couldn't they fight in a neutral setting? Oh, I know why. Because they wanted to give Mario an advantage. Or 10. So there just so happened to be clone cherries in those trees. Hey, Death Battle, how come you couldn't have any ring capsules fall from those trees too? They can be found in trees in Sonic games, you know. Oh, silly me. Death Battle wants to make Sonic look like nothing in this fight. Wow, the animation quality took a huge dip here, and clone cherries can only make up to 4 Mario clones in the official source material, just FYI. Mario can't make an army of himself. Did you guys even look at the games prior to making this fight? Jeez.
Oh, give me a break.
Okay, why is Sonic just standing there like an idiot? Why can't he just outrun these plumbers in furry suits? How are you going to tell me that a guy who has effortlessly outran a group of robots, police officers, race cars while running backwards, and missiles targeted at him while carrying a princess twice his height can't outrun a few overweight plumbers in furry suits? Really? I didn't need to see that. Wow, you guys sure had fun making Sonic look bad in this fight. Hypersonic is way overkill for this fight.
Now I'll show you.
Okay, why is Hypersonic wasting time attacking the Mario clones individually? Why doesn't he just use his insta-kill flash attack? Okay, I know Ben answered this question in the post-video fight. I know Ben mentioned that that the Hyper Flash attack can only kill basic enemies, but here's the thing. The Mario clones have pretty much no durability. I mean, even if they touch the most basic of enemies, they vanish. So Hypersonic should have been able to wipe out all the clones in an instant, and then take out the real Mario easily. And I know that, again, in contradiction to what Ben said, how Hypersonic Flash can only take out basic enemies, but yet in the post-research section after this fight, Ben argues that Mario could have just used the Ice Flower or Gold Flower to turn Sonic into ice or to gold. But again, that contradicts his statement that he said about the Hyper Flash. The Gold Flower and Ice Flower can only turn basic enemies into gold and ice. They can't turn bosses into gold and ice. So yeah, again, this is what I mean by cherry-picking research. Again, they just try to make Sonic look like nothing compared to Mario in this fight. Anyway, Hypersonic should have easily been able to wipe out all the clones with his flash attack, then kill Mario with his above lightning fast reflexes and speed, with 115 million kilotons force of power before he even has a chance to bring out his Starman. Yeah, Mario should not have been able to react to that, especially with him facing the opposite direction. Come on, reacting to over 9 times the speed of lights with your back turned? Stop making Sonic look like an idiot, Screw Attack. Again, Hypersonic should have killed Mario before he even had the chance to activate that Starman. Okay, why can't Hypersonic just drown Mario here? Hypersonic can breathe underwater, but Mario can't, even with the Starman. I mean, sure, Mario could breathe underwater in the classic games, but not in the modern era. Okay, since when can Mario stack the wing cap on top of the Starman? If you're letting Mario stack power-ups, why couldn't you let Sonic stack an electric shield on top of Hypersonic to attract rings and extend his hyperform? Hypersonic lasts way longer than the Starman, so by the logic that you used in your Shadow vs. Vegeta fight, Mario should have lost here.
Oh, shoot. Oh, mamma mia.
Okay, this is a big problem I had throughout this entire fight. Why do they have Sonic punching? Sonic's strength lies in his legs. They allow him to break the sound and light barrier after all. Why couldn't Sonic run in place here in the air and fall towards Mario and chop his head off? Legs moving at 9 times the speed of light would produce a force far greater than Mario's supposed 2400 kilotons durability. And trust me, Sonic knows how to put his legs to good use in combat. In Sonic Adventure 2, we see him knock back the giant statue hybrid robot, the Egg Golem, with his foot alone. And people may argue that Sonic was attacking his weak point. True, but we can see in the Eggman's version of the fight that he had 3 more of those mechanisms in his chest, so that isn't a fair debunk. Besides, using that logic, I can debunk Mario's strength as well, as shown in his fight against Bowser in the Mario Galaxy games, where he hits his tail after it's burned.
Woohoo! I'm the winner.
KO!
Sorry, Screw Attack, a few things wrong with your ending here. First of all, we have seen Sonic fall to the earth time and time again, so Mario throwing Sonic down to the water, which would have cushioned his fall, may I add, would have done absolutely nothing. Just look at this scene in Sonic X when we see Sonic shot from the Sonic Power Cannon, powered by the Master Emerald, through a Meteorex and into a neighboring planet. He then walks it off like nothing at all. We can conclude, as determined by the Eclipse Cannon scale, Sonic impacted the planet with at least 115,937,500 kilotons of force, which far surpasses Mario's 3,470 kilotons of power that Screw Attack claims to have. And yes, I know some people are going to say that Sonic X isn't canon. I know that, but as proven before with the Master Emerald laser feat, as long as Sonic has a ring on him, he is basically immortal thanks to the ring system, which puts him on par with his Sonic X feats. And I know, again, people are going to complain that Sonic was just taken out of his hyper form, so he should have no rings to protect him. But again, that's not necessarily true, as rings aren't the only means of protection that Sonic has. If you paid close attention in this death battle, Mario used a total of 4 power-ups: the Super Bell, Double Cherry, Starman, and the Wing Cap. It would be only fair to give Sonic 4 power-ups as well, right? But they didn't. Sonic only used 3 power-ups in this fight: the Bubble Shield, the Red Wisp, and Hypersonic. So who's to say that Sonic didn't have one more power-up up his sleeve? Why couldn't he bust out an invincibility shield to kill Mario in the air? Or at least use a shield while he's falling to protect him from the explosion? Or heck, just Chaos Control to safety. He wouldn't take any impact damage from the fall alone, because Sonic has never taken damage from falling to the ground ever. Mario should have died from this fall, or at least taken damage, or at least been staggered by his fall after Sonic landed, giving him the opportunity to land the final blow. Okay, now before I end this debunk, there's a few points that I need to get across in order to assure once and for all that there is absolutely no way that Mario, even at simply game canon, that Mario could ever come remotely close to beating Sonic in a fight. Alright, first of all, the whole thing with Death Battle downplaying Sonic's speed, I have to say, there are in-game measurements that Death Battle themselves used in Sonic Unleashed that state that Sonic is able to move at 3,519 SPD. And they also stated themselves that Sonic can move at the speed of light with the light dash ability. Now let me tell you something. The light dash ability in Sonic Unleashed is clocked to be at 390 SPD. Sonic's top speed in in-game measurements is 3,519 SPD. So, it's basic math. Divide 3,519 by 390 and we get 9.02, thus putting Sonic at over 9 times the speed of light. That means in game canon, Sonic has been clocked at over 9 times the speed of light. And he's not using any outside equipment to do that, just FYI. Now, Death Battle said that Mario had the power, or had the ability, to react to light speed, which is BS, but even if that was the case, Sonic is 9 times light speed. So, there's no way that Mario could have been able to react to any of Sonic's attacks. That's why Mario's impressive arsenal, like people say that he can pull out an endless amount of Starmen or Metal Caps or whatever to counter Hypersonic, that's not true. Because Sonic is so fast, he can take those power-ups for himself. Again, Mario would be a sitting duck without his power-ups, and that's the beauty to Sonic's character. He doesn't need any power-ups or weapons to fight. He is his own weapon. You can even see in these videos, in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Mario wasn't able to react to a simple cannonball. It even knocked him out cold. And again, he wasn't able to react to Taboo's attack, although Sonic was. He even saved Mario and every other Nintendo character from the wrath of Taboo. And yes, using Smash Bros. Is fair game in this debate because Screw Attack used Smash Bros. In their debate in an attempt to downplay supersonic speed. And Screw Attack has also used Mario and Luigi's Final Smash in older Death Battle videos. So yes, Smash Bros. Is a fair resource to take from, where Mario clearly has proven that he cannot react to light speed. And not to mention, in Mario Galaxy, in the beginning of Mario Galaxy, he couldn't even react to the Magikoopa's attack. Again, thus proving that Mario can't react to light speed. Case closed. Sonic is too fast for Mario. So, Mario's arsenal of power-ups would be useless against Sonic. And, just FYI, I know Death Battle mentioned that they believe he's can go light speed because of the whole Cappy thing in Mario Odyssey, and I already mentioned that running on a bolt of electricity is only like 1% the speed of a bolt of lightning, which Sonic has been proven to outrun. And as for the whole Stardiver thing, they obviously made up that 500-mile radius thing. I mean, unless someone can prove me wrong and show me that he traveled 400 miles in that short amount of time, which again wouldn't matter because a player can still take damage from in that segment of the game. So again, you're just assuming that Mario avoided damage. That's not enough to prove that he can react at light speed. And even if he could react at light speed, again, Sonic's 9 times the speed of light, so it doesn't matter anyway. So yeah, Sonic's too fast for Mario and could steal all of Mario's power-ups. So Mario's a sitting duck. And also to debunk the whole ending where Sonic dies by him being thrown to the earth. Well, not even really the earth, just a pool of water by Mario with a force of 3,400 kilotons or something. Again, here's the scene from Sonic X once again, where Sonic is shot through a cannon from outer space to a planet at what can be assumed, thanks to the Eclipse Cannon scale, over 115 million kilotons of force. And he walks it off like a champ. So yeah, Mario's strength wouldn't do crap against Sonic. Sonic is an absolute beast. He can survive basically anything. And he's been able to survive basically anything since 1991 in his first game. Even by gameplay mechanics standards. As long as Sonic has a ring, Sonic is basically, for the most part, immortal. So Mario wouldn't be able to nail a scratch on Sonic. So I know you guys are trying to say that Mario has like a durability of 3,400 kilotons or whatever. Well, Sonic's durability is over 100 million kilotons. Just so you know. And again, if you guys screw Attack making all these BS claims with the comedic gags, with that Chibi Castle, the Super Mario World gags, then I can make these claims through research from actual story cutscenes, such as Eggman using the power of the 7 Chaos Emeralds to break up the Earth in Unleashed, or blowing up half the moon in Adventure 2. So yeah, any case, no, there's no way that Mario would be able to lay a scratch on Sonic. Case closed. I also want to briefly mention that a quick Google search goes to show the impact of traveling at the speed of light. So first of all, it's impossible for any physical object to move the speed of light. The only thing that can really move at the speed of light in our world is a photon, which can travel at light speeds because it is massless. Any object having mass when it tries to reach light speed increases their mass, which is called relativistic mass. So as it accelerates to reach light speeds, it becomes more massive and an infinite energy is required to reach light speeds. And Death Battle did state themselves that Sonic has been able to reach light speeds. So even if we don't even use the whole Sonic Unleashed clocked at 9 times light speed, even if we just say Sonic's traveling at 1 times light speed, that would mean that Sonic would be producing an impact of an infinite force of kilotons. Obviously, that's way more than Mario's stated 3,400 kilotons of force that Death Battle clocked him at. Now, keep in mind, Sonic's durability we have confirmed is 115 million kilotons of force. That means that Sonic would have to impact Mario, or whoever his opponent is, at no more than 115 million kilotons in order for him to survive the impact. So, that would place both Sonic's durability and his power at a scale of 115 million kilotons, which far outweighs Mario's feats. As long as Sonic has enough space to run on to reach light speed, then there's pretty much nothing that can stop him. And no, not even Mario can stop him. I also want to mention that no, Mario's white Tanuki suit would be no match for Sonic, or for Hyper Supersonic for that matter. The reason for that being is that the Tanuki suit, it just allows Mario to be invulnerable from basic enemy attacks. Mario can still die. For example, if he falls into a pool of lava, he can still die. But, it's never been stated that his power drastically increases, unlike with Supersonic or Hypersonic, where he has the power of a planet buster, can fly in space, and can warp time in space. And not to mention that the white Tanuki suit, it's just a suit. If Mario with the white Tanuki suit went up against Hypersonic, Hypersonic can just rip Mario out of the suit, because it's just a suit. But Mario has no means of stripping Sonic from his hyper form, or his super form, for that matter. And again, Mario can't just find a white Tanuki suit out in the open. It's only under certain circumstances that Mario can obtain a white Tanuki suit. And if I recall correctly, it's only when the player dies in one of the newer Mario games, because, the newer Mario games are really geared towards babies, but I digress. When the player dies like 5 times in a row, then a white Tanuki suit will appear and will allow the game to play itself, because, Mario games are always geared towards kids. But anyway, Mario would have no means of getting that on his own. Just like a lot of people argue that Hypersonic isn't canon, well, the white Tanuki suit isn't canon either. When has a white Tanuki suit ever been shown in a cutscene? And on top of that, when has the Tanuki suit shown to increase Mario's power? It hasn't. It just increases his durability against basic enemy attacks. So yeah, and one more thing before I wrap up with this whole Mario vs. Sonic debunk thing. I know how toxic the Nintendo fandom is. I know that they're probably gonna try to leave a bunch of hate comments and give me a bunch of thumb downs on my video, since I know that that's their only form of attack. But, well, I'm disabling the thumb down feature of this YouTube video, so you won't be able to thumb down this video, so suck on that, Mario fanboys. And on top of that, I'm done arguing. I just want to create a safe place where I can give my opinion about this death battle, and also give Sonic fans a safe place to discuss. I know, I'm just gonna delete and block any hate comment from any Mario fanboys. I know I tried giving my opinion, and I tried receiving constructive feedback in my original Mario vs. Sonic analysis video, and it was just too much. The Nintendo fandom is just too toxic. I couldn't take it, and I just ended up putting the video on private. Well, I know better now. So yeah, people, you can feel free to leave your hate comments. I really don't care. I was called every name in the book in my previous video. I was even being called a retarded N-word. And, I'm numb to it now. I just don't care. And I'm tired of caring. And I've been put through this nonsense throughout my entire life of being a Sonic fan. Look, okay. I'm gonna become pretty vulnerable here, but I've been a Sonic fan my entire life. I grew up in an abusive household where my father would physically abuse my mother, and it was a constant war zone in my house. But the only means I had to escaping this torment was going over to my friend's house when I was probably at the age of 4, and we would play Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis all the time. And I know this friend is no longer with me, but my days of playing Sonic on the Sega Genesis were the best memories of my entire life. And, I mean, to this day, I still cherish those memories, and I'll always hold them dear to my heart. Anyway, as you can tell, my relationship with my parents was very unhealthy, and they eventually got divorced. And I normally don't tell this, except to people I really trust, but I actually have autism. I have Asperger's, which is a form of autism and a social disorder, so I had a really hard time making friends growing up. I had to move from city to city, and always found it was always hard for me to make friends, but so I spent a lot of my time alone. But I mean, Sonic games were always able to help me fill the void of loneliness, because they always reminded me of the time when I got to play Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis with my dear neighborhood friend, who helped me escape from the pain of my abusive father. And, I mean, to this day, I've always been a die-hard Sonic fan, and I know people are probably gonna use this to attack me, saying, "Oh, autistic Sonic fanboy confirmed, LOL." Yes, I'm a Sonic fanboy, and yes, I have autism. I'm not afraid to admit that. I know people are always saying that the Sonic fandom is toxic, but what does that say about you? The people out there in the comments section, thinking nothing of how to hurt my feelings in the comments section, what does that say about you? If I'm a toxic Sonic fanboy, then you're below toxic. You're acidine. And I'm done dealing with it, and I'm done caring about it. And I know that most of these Sonic haters and trolls are either little kids who were never even around during Sonic's glory days and don't know what Sega Genesis is, or Nintendo fanboy man-babies who hide in their mother's basements behind a computer screen and throw hate comments towards anyone who has opinions that do not praise Nintendo or praising a game icon other than Nintendo's IPs. Admittedly, that's one of the reasons why I'm taking a break from YouTube and setting off on this journey to go back to college and try to attain my childhood dream of developing video games, more specifically developing Sonic games. It was always my dream to make Sonic games. And autism is a learning disability, so I had to definitely work my butt off in college when I got my first bachelor's degree. I always kind of feared returning to school because I just don't function well in the classroom, but now I've found myself driven to a new purpose. I want to go back to school, not only to go back and attain my dreams, but also to face my fears of falling behind my classmates. I want to prove that, even though I have autism, I can still thrive in the computer science field, which is a major I originally tried to go for, but ended up switching into business because computer science just wasn't the right time and place for me back during my first undergraduate program. But now I'm in a much better state of mind, and I just do not have time to deal with the toxic community on YouTube, but more specifically with the toxic gaming community, and especially the Nintendo community. I mean, I've been receiving hate comments throughout my entire life for being a Sonic fan by the Nintendo community, and I'm just sick of it, and I'm tired of caring. And I know that's why this death battle really hits home. Oh, and aside from this whole death battle, another thing that I can't stand about the Nintendo fandom is the elitist Smash Brothers community. I mean, if you say that you hope that a certain character gets into the next Smash Brothers game that the Nintendo fandom doesn't agree with, they'll chew you out alive. It's crazy. After the November Direct for Super Smash Brothers, I was really disappointed that Shadow was deconfirmed as a character for the game, and when I expressed my wish for Shadow to get in the game, I was given a bunch of hate comments all over YouTube by the Nintendo community. It's crazy. Why am I getting hated on so much just for wishing that a single character would have made the roster in an upcoming game? It's ridiculous. It's downright ridiculous. And this is why I just cannot stand the Nintendo community. Well, the gaming community as a whole, but especially the Nintendo community. It's downright toxic. And I know people may just tell me to just ignore the hate and whatnot and give me the whole sticks and stones speech, but that's much easier said than done when there's hate, literally Sonic hate, all over the internet. I swear I can't go anywhere without seeing something negative towards Sonic. And Sonic fans get bashed for the most ridiculous of things. Like, even simple things like fan art, where this whole Sonic community has a bad rep of having erotic art. But I just gotta ask, have you people ever heard of Rule 34? If it exists, then there's porn of it. There's erotic art of everything out there, whether it's video games, anime, or cartoon shows. And yes, that includes Mario too. And as a matter of fact, what's with the whole Bowsette fad going on? I just don't get it. If the Sonic community came up with something like Bowsette, then you better darn well believe that the Sonic fandom will get hated upon. But when Mario does it, they get praised. It's just not fair. And another thing, just FYI, I may be a Sonic fanboy, but I like other things too. I like anime. I like Kingdom Hearts. I like Halo. I like Pokemon. I like Yu-Gi-Oh! I like Naruto. But, I mean, just because I just so happen to like Sonic, I instantly get hate for it. It's downright ridiculous. I just cannot stand this gaming community. It's so toxic, it's so hateful, and I just need to get away from it. Well, before I go, I want to say thank you to all my awesome subscribers and followers. Even when I'm bullied, I know that I at least have you guys to talk to cheer me up. And sorry that this video felt so scatterbrained and long and just downright unorganized. Like I said, this is really an unfinished video. I really just uploaded all my ideas in this. Before I go, though, there was one thing that I did want to mention. You know this game that I'm playing called Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? I'm sure you've all heard of it. Well, it just so happens that Sonic seems to be a higher tier than Mario. Isn't that something? Okay, see you guys. Bye-bye.